15 ways to spot fake juicy couture. Number 14, missing the marks. Who are P&G and why does it sometimes say G&P? Is it even on the labels anymore? Well, if there's a P&G where a G&P should be, or a G&P where neither should be, you likely have a fake on your hands. But to recognize when and where, we first have to meet the creators of the Fluffian universe and catch up on their mid-aughts trademark skirmish. P&G stands for Pam and Gila, Pamela Scaced Levy and Gila Nash Taylor, the pink Latin masterminds who started Juicy Couture in the late 1990s. This is Pam. She usually has blonde hair. Pam grew up a skateboarding valley girl born and bred in Southern California. She studied at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in LA. The Yorkies on Juicy labels were modeled after her beloved Yorkshire Terrier Dan, whom I assume now is lounging blissfully on a Louis Vuitton chaise in doggy heaven. This is Gila. She usually has brown hair. Gila grew up with a flair for the dramatic, developing an active imagination from being dragged around to a new home state every 3 years. She studied acting at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. Coincidentally, about a decade or so after she graduated, the school added a Scottish Terrier and shield to their sports team, the Tartans logo. Both were fun-loving, fashion-obsessed middle children whose eccentricities and confidence had made them somewhat the black sheep of their more traditional ladder-climbing families. But you see, Pam and Gila had a problem, and that problem's name was Procter & Gamble. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In 2002, Juicy Couture's brand was growing, and they were ready to add some more pieces of flair to their plain Jane logo. If you saw my video on why your Juicy tracksuit isn't from the 90s, you'll agree. If you want to look up the records, search for serial number 76507437 at this link here, or just scan the QR code at the top of the screen. This was the launch of the color-coded tag era. They were trying to draw Westies to flank the shield to look like Pam's dog Dan, but they ended up looking more like Scotties. And after a while, everyone just kind of went with it. If it's not a problem, don't make it a problem, right? So they started the application with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Trademarks are, like many things in the law, complicated and expensive. Usually take several years. The word mark inside the shield that reads Love P&G was a part of several trademarks that they were applying for at that time. While the trademark application was in process, they added a little TM outside the banner on the logo. You can note having applied for one in a couple different ways. You might have seen the words trademark pending on a materials tag before, for example. It's the same thing. They could have applied earlier than that 05-2003 date even, because the process, again, is very slow. Happily, they were approved, and their trademarks were registered and published in August of 2004. They removed the little TM by the banner and added the R in a circle next to the E in couture. That symbol means registered trademark. Enter Procter & Gamble. This other P&G was a massive company, then and now, with brands reaching into...
this will sound far-fetched. Everyone in the world!
They'd been around since before the Civil War and had made $56 billion in sales in 2005 alone. Unfortunately for Pam and Gila, that included sales in the textile market, where they owned Lacoste and Hugo Boss. Now, you can sometimes share names and trademarks if you're not in related industries. But even if most shoppers wouldn't get the connection, let alone be confused, Broligarts aren't exactly known for dropping their nickels. The case went to the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board, but Juicy didn't win. We don't actually know if they fought very hard or if they were generally cool with it. A lot of times those details get tied up in NDAs. Regardless, Juicy's P&G mark was officially declared abandoned in May of 2006. But by that time, they were moving past it and had already started producing labels with the letters in reverse. So how did this trademark tussle end up affecting whether we can tell if they're fake or not? Essentially because the labels changed so slightly but so frequently, counterfeiters in these early years weren't great at keeping up. So if you remember this story and a couple of the facts I'll point out next, you'll be able to sniff out most of their logo letter errors. Let's take a look. On the majority of labels for women or girls, the shield used Love P&G from about 2002 to 2005 and Love G&P from about 2006 to 2012. Since the trademark wasn't officially registered until the end of 2004, all the earliest Scotty Shield labels will have that TM on the outside of the banner, then the circled R starting in 2005. Counterfeiters in this era sometimes did a really nice job on the stitching, actually, but omitted these other key details. The examples on the right included the word love, but don't bother putting the founder's initials in there in any order. They also omitted any reference to the trademark process, whether pending or registered. and they're probably the most common types of examples you'll find for the fakes of this era. Looking at the real labels another way, here are 3 near-identical color-coded labels for size women's petite and the slight differences they bore in these 3 consecutive years. In 2004, Juicy was proudly using their original P&G and noted the TM for the pending trademark application. In 2005, the P&G had been approved, along with their other trademarks, so they switched the TM to the circled R. And in 2006, they knew they had to modify their product to get Procter & Gamble off their backs, so they switched the letters to GNP, but continued to use the R in a circle as it referenced other trademarks as well. There are other authentic Juicy Couture labels from this era that have these monogram and trademark letter quirks, but they're far less common. I've included them here just so you know that they do exist, as they are often omitted from quick references and general label guides. Specialty products were produced outside the US or for a market outside the US. These included their tailored wool suits, cashmere knits, layered silk veil, those kinds of pieces. Women's specialty Scotty tags had 2 different taglines, for nice girls who like stuff and made with love P&G or GNP depending upon the year. But the color size coordination, which we'll talk about in a later video, remained the same. Specialty girls was pretty uncommon and not much survives today, but they did, however, have this adorable periwinkle Scotty Shield tag. The regular girls tag from this time were pink, and with the size tag in a mini tag below, another feature discussed more in a later video. The pink tag on the top right was sometimes used without a mini tab on the intimates that they produced in the color-coded era, mainly camisoles, panties, and pajamas. Scammers rejoiced when Juicy left the color-coded labels behind, as it was a lot easier to copy them. They usually remember to include the monogram on these ones, sometimes even the trademark, but both are still usually guilty of sloppy stitching. You'll see this version of the shield also printed on the inside back of some shirts and tops, and on the oversized-looking maternity tags. For what it's worth, I've never seen someone counterfeit the Scotty Shield when it's printed on the interior of a garment, like on the top here. Counterfeited shirts will often copy a different design, make up something simpler, or just try to stick an older era tag on it. When Pam and Gila parted ways with the company in 2011, it didn't make sense for Juicy to keep their initials in the branding. So around 2013, one branch of the company renamed themselves Juicy Couture Los Angeles, LA having more valuable name recognition than the USA in general. There are many designs after this time as well, but none will have the Love P&G or Love GNP mark. Here's one of the earliest redesigned Scotty Shields from the post-transition era Juicy around 2014. What about the men? I have not found a single vintage Juicy tag for a men's or boys garment that has the phrase Love P&G or GNP. Juicy Men's has its own separate track of design evolution. Some of the crests and symbols from the Y2K era are shown here, along with their reoccurring symbols pulled out on the right. One final note. There are many, many, many other authentic tag designs from vintage Juicy both before, during, and after this era. I don't include them because this authentication tip doesn't apply if they never had the monogram in the first place. The QR code below will take you to my full label guide if you're looking for more info. But the highest demand clothing items, the vintage Y2K tracksuit hoodies and pants, produced between 2002 and 2012, will always have a Scotty Shield crest with either the P&G or GNP and reference the trademark somewhere. To recap, for tags that have a Scotty Shield, look for both the Love and the monogram letters P&G or GNP in the shield. Also look for correct references to the trademark application or registration. Avoid any label that uses a P&G that's not color-coded, excluding jeans and trousers which have their own system. Avoid any reference to P&G or GNP on a men's or boys label. And avoid any women's tracksuit pieces that are missing a Scotty Shield crest or the P&G GNP monogram. We've got 13 tips left. Follow for more.